Ssd Hunter and I run Simon Says Dance, a dance school based in Edinburgh. I've decided that with my time in lockdown, I would be a little bit more productive and start a new project called Simon Talks Dance. I will be interviewing several males from different parts of the industry, including performers, choreographers, teachers, and students. I want to know how they've succeeded in this industry and what obstacles they have had to overcome. In a world where there's still so much stigma around boys dancing, I want to delve into this idea of the negativity and try and make it a more positive conversation. As a male dance teacher, I feel that my role is not only to teach these next generation of dancers, but it's also to try and inspire more boys into dancing. The dance industry would not survive without males. And with so much support behind similar campaigns all around the world, I feel this topic is something that needs to be spoken about on a more local and interactive platform. So today I'm going to be speaking to Rory Macleod. He is an ex-student of Simon Says Dance, and he has been working super hard at Laine, which is down in London. He's in his second year. He is just done the pantomime in Bristol in 2019, and is also an ambassador for Squad Dancewear. Now, he is a member of the Dance Star company at Can You Dance Conventions, and he used to be a part of Twisted Perfection at one point with us as well, which is super exciting. So I'd like to introduce you today to Mr. Rory Macleod. Hi Rory, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've not seen you in so long.
I know.
Are you enjoying being back in Edinburgh for a wee while?
Yeah, it's certainly weird doing college online though.
Yeah, are you literally having to do this like in your living room, in your bedroom, or what?
Like in my wee makeshift studio in my bedroom, it's so weird.
And how many classes are you still having to do a day then?
It's not as much, like at most it's like 3 classes a day.
Okay, but still that's quite intense when most of the world kind of do nothing and you're still having to full on do.
Yeah, I'm lucky I have something to do. Like I was so bored before all that started.
Exactly, it's quite good that it gives you like a little focus and a little routine most days, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, amazing. So what I want to talk to you about today is I'd like to speak to you a little bit about being in the dance industry and kind of all the things that you've had to deal with to come to where you are today. But first of all, I've introduced of kind of where you are, but I'd like to kind of talk about how you first got into dancing. What really made you think this is it? This is something that I've got a wee passion for.
Okay, so I've always been into like musical theatre from a young age. Okay. So like from 7, I did like Stagecoach and stuff on the weekends.
Yeah.
But then at the age of like 14, I sort of just like developed some passion for dance. I don't know where it came from, but I just fell in love with it. But I was always quite scared to start doing that because of like the pressure at school, obviously. But yeah, I just fell in love with it at the age of 14, and here I am.
Yeah, exactly. And it's in such a short time as well. Everything's kind of just like sped up.
I know.
Which is
quite
cool. And then going back to obviously the kind of always doing performing and stuff like that. What I've noticed is a lot of people in primary school, everything's easy. Everyone understands like, oh, this person does this person does this. But when you go to high school and then you're then surrounded by people from all different backgrounds and different areas, that's when issues start to arise. Did you kind of feel like that was ever an issue for you, high school?
Well, I was quite lucky at school because I had some supportive friends that would always back me up.
Good.
But there was definitely like people that wouldn't really agree with what I was doing and kind of make the odd remark. But yeah, I kind of just had to like learn to ignore that because it's what I love to do, so I can't really let them dictate what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also I feel like for you especially, you've always kind of had a good group of friends from the performing side of things. So you kind of school life, but then you could kind of escape and be like with your friends from dancing and musical theatre and other places. Yeah,
definitely. Having that sort of group of friends was so important to me because it just meant like I knew I had people to fall back on if like I wasn't doing well at school. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also then talking about school, when you got kind of to the end of you being at high school, that's when you kind of take a step back and you were like, I don't really want to be at school anymore. You knew you kind of had a focus that you wanted to have this as a career. And then you dropped out of school, didn't you? And you were then doing kind of more full-on dance training before you then started to audition. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I always knew that I wanted to go into dancing after I left. And because I was already quite behind on everyone else, I really wanted to like up my game and sort of technical training. So I decided to leave so I could do as many classes as I could and sort of train at home as well when school was on, which was definitely beneficial for me, I think. And it kind of prepared me for like auditions and for colleges and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's amazing. You've kind of done a little bit of everything in Edinburgh, like you say, from Stagecoach, and then you did obviously MGA for a while. You've done Simon Says Dance for a while, EDA for a while. So you've kind of done a little bit of everything. But Edinburgh is quite a small place, and there is very limited kind of amount of dancing you can do up here. So for you then to take the big step to go down to London to go to a dance school down there, how was that transition over to that kind of scary side of London dancing?
Well, I felt like I had to sort of like go everywhere for every sort of training. Like I went to MJ for MT, EDA for sort of like my ballet and contemporary, and then I went to U for commercial. Yeah. So to have everything in the one place at college was like quite cool and quite weird and new for me. But yeah, it was definitely weird, like being with people that all wanted to do it like as a career, because I felt like I had tons of friends that didn't really understand it. They were supportive, but they didn't really get what I was doing. So it's like good to have people that are in the same boat as you, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And also I feel like up here, there's not as many male performers up here. So for the competition side of it, obviously you did Dance World Cup and you've done lots of competing up here, but then to actually be in a room full of just guys who also are the same level as you and pushing you to become a better dancer in yourself and performer within yourself, is that something that you quite enjoy now?
Yeah, so when I lived in Edinburgh and like trained here, I was always like more or less the only boy. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't really used to competition. But when I moved down there, obviously like I've got sort of the country's best boys in one class, which is so like weird, like, and it's really sort of pushed me to be better. Because obviously there's competition in Edinburgh with the girls, but not nearly as much as if you're surrounded by boys. So it's really good to have that.
And do you feel like when you were up in Edinburgh, the fact that you did manage to start doing quite a lot of the competition circuits up here, that then helped you down there? Did it make some connections maybe from other male dancers you met along the way?
Oh yeah, so I've met quite a lot of people that were in my year at like Dance World Cup and just like competitions throughout the country, like Can You Dance and stuff. So I definitely knew people when I was coming down, which was helpful to have. But I feel like doing competitions and stuff really helps me when I came down because like I was used to sort of a little bit of competition, so it meant I was a bit strong and could kind of take it. If you know what I mean.
Oh, quite right. And I also think the competition world is so important to kind of push you further than just doing your regular dance classes. It almost gives you a different edge about it. So you're right. So when you go further down into the career, you already have that little bit of passion to know about auditions and how to present yourself and how to push yourself. So that's really great that you managed to do quite a lot. And also, I've already mentioned that you were a part of the Dance Star company for Can You Dance. Now, Can You Dance is obviously such a massive convention that goes all around the UK, and you're kind of one of the main kind of people that have been a part of that, which is amazing. And how do you feel like that helped you as well with your career?
I feel like that gave me quite a lot of exposure. I had like a lot of opportunity to work with like some of the best choreographers there. Yeah. So that's really helped like with opportunities, I guess, and it'll sort of continue to help me when I leave college. Give me more doors opened, and like I can work with people that I worked with when I was like 15. So it's quite cool.
What is the dream then once you graduate? What is the dream? What's your dream job?
I'd love to be on the West End. Or just like, to be fair, like anything. Like I just love to dance, and getting paid to dance is like crazy to me.
I know.
Because I was doing it for
your hobby as well, your whole life, and now it's the other way around. You're not paying for it; you're actually getting paid.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So weird to me. I'm so lucky that I get to do that.
Obviously, when I was teaching you, you were very, very strong at commercial and going through all these Can You Dance places and all these kind of workshops you've done. Do you think commercial is still one of your strongest sides, or do you think you're more of an all-rounder?
I'd like to say that it is, but I also really enjoy ballet now, which wasn't something I was always into. Yeah. But I feel like I'm definitely a technical dancer as well as a commercial dancer.
Yes, when I see you doing your turns, I'm like, whoa, it's incredible. It's incredible. I'm still struggling to get like a double in there, and you're doing like 29 now. It's impressive. So one question I'd really love to know is, if you could go back to the start, go back to the start of maybe being like 5, 6, what would you maybe change? Would you have maybe done things differently? I know you're very flexible now, but do you think maybe like you could have done gymnastics, or is there anything you maybe wish, oh, I wish I'd started that from a slightly younger age?
To be honest, like I'm quite glad I started when I started, because when I started then I had like the drive to be better, and it kind of pushed me a lot harder. And maybe I always think like if I was younger, maybe I wouldn't have worked as hard because I wouldn't have been driven to.
Yeah.
And
And
I kind of just,
a lot of
sorry.
people fall out of love, don't they? They do it too much too soon, and then they almost fall out of love by the time they get to your age. But in actual fact, you've done it later, so you're kind of still falling in love with it as you go along.
Yeah, like a lot of people I know at college, have kind of fallen out of love with it and like dropped out because it's too full on sometimes, and they realize it's not really for them.
Yeah, it is intense. And even for example, when I went to university, I was only there for like maybe 10 to 12 hours contact a week. And then it was like a lot of self-study. But for you, you're literally in every minute of every day, aren't you?
Oh yeah, it's intense. It's like 9 to 6 every day at least.
And then the thing is, it's physical as well. So that's on your body constantly. Like you're constantly having to better yourself, to stretch, to become stronger, to fit the mold of what you need to be to become a performer.
Yeah, I know. Like as well as physical, so we have all day at college. Like we also have work to do after college. So it's so intense. It's like uni and training all at
Exactly.
the one time. It's like crazy.
And do you feel like, obviously you're coming up to the end of your second year now, do you feel like you've made the right decision, this is exactly where you want to be and you can see it going in the right way?
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like college will definitely test if it's your passion or not because it's so intense and it's so competitive. But yeah, I still love it and I still want to do it as a career. So
Good, good. Okay, so another thing is, obviously, being a part of Simon Says Dance when you were younger, there was not very many males sometimes in certain classes, and sometimes you might have been the only male in the class. How did that make you feel, sometimes being like the only boy in a class, or even when you were in your other schools, being the only male in comparison to now being in a room full of males? What was the kind of difference, do you think?
well, in Edinburgh, when I first came into classes, it was quite daunting at first. But then, like being the only boy gives you quite a lot of attention, and like everyone wants to be your friend and stuff.
Yeah,
So it was quite nice, like in my sense. Like I had quite a lot of support when I was doing that. But it was definitely daunting going into those classes and being the only boy there. It
exactly.
felt weird, but now that I'm like down in London with all these amazing boys, it's like what I'm doing isn't weird. It's just not many people do it like where I'm from. So
Yeah.
it was good to have like all those people down there with me, like making me feel normal in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because up here maybe you don't fit a mold, so therefore you need to find your own little group of people who are exactly the same as you. And now you've kind of appreciated that you've found people who maybe again have all come from small places and all come together. So it kind of helps each other.
Yeah, like just because not many people do it like here doesn't mean that no one's doing it and that you're weird. Like
Yeah.
there's plenty of people doing it in different places. So
Exactly. Exactly. So on that point, if you could go, if you could talk to, say, yourself, or you could talk to someone, a kid who's maybe like struggling, they've kind of come from primary school, they're going into high school, and they've got kind of like pressures of school, social media, and it's kind of making them feel a little bit negative about themselves and their belief in dancing or performing or whatever they do, what would you maybe say is like what they should be doing to continue to better themselves? What would you say?
well, I know it can like seem very tricky at the time, like when you're surrounded by all that. But now that I've left school and these people that were saying all these things, like they don't matter to you at all. Like these people aren't your friends. So I know it might seem tricky at the time, but like give it 2 years and they'll be out your life. And like I feel like if at the time you let them sort of dictate what you wanted to do, I wouldn't have been doing what I love now if I had just given up.
Exactly.
Um, so I think it may seem hard, but I think you just need to like block them out. Just remember that they're not your friends. They're not important to you. So
No,
yeah.
it's so true. And I think as a child, that is so hard to understand because everything seems like a much bigger deal than it is. And you
Mm.
worry about everyone's opinions, especially with social media. I think that's super hard. And I think everyone's desperate to get acceptance and likes on different photos or videos or whatever. So I do think it is a really hard time to be a kid and to almost do something that is different to everyone else. But I think you're right. I think you have to believe in yourself, because you're going to get to, say, age 20 and look back and be like, oh, I was really good at that. And I almost wish that I had kind of committed a little bit more. So I think that's something that's really good.
Yeah, if you love to do it and you quit, like, you're going to end up regretting it, I think.
No,
because you never know what could have happened.
You're absolutely right. And I also think as well, with things like the TV shows like Britain's Got Talent, The Greatest Dancer, I think that's putting males into the light of being like, oh, this is really cool. And I think it gives people something to look up to. I think like things like Strictly, a lot of families watch that. And I think a lot of kids are then like, oh, I'd like to try that. So I do think it is working. I think it is getting more acceptable every day. I think the more people have these competitions, it does become a little bit more acceptable. But like you say, being in Edinburgh, there's very few, but wait till you get older and wait till you get into like other places, and there's plenty.
There's like so many people down in London like that are just amazing. Like, it's so good to see sort of everyone come together.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I also think it's funny because when you were a part of Simon Says Dance Up Here and you were a member of Twist Perfection, you were just this little boy who was so talented from such a young age, and we were all like, oh my goodness, you're going to go so far. And it's amazing to now see that you actually are still going for it and that you still are pushing yourself. And it's amazing to see that if you had doubted yourself, you wouldn't be where you are now.
Yeah, it is like weird to look back on, because I remember back then I was so like, I knew what I wanted and I was so driven and I worked so hard. Like, I would miss parties and stuff at school just so I could stay home and practice or go to class or rehearse. So it's definitely been rewarding to see where I've come in the past couple of years.
It's right. And this is a question I've been asking is, if you weren't doing this, if this wasn't your career and you weren't studying it, what do you think you might be doing instead?
God knows, probably something really boring like law or something, I don't know.
But that is funny, isn't it? Because it's almost like you've kind of just taken the risk of following this path, yet you could have been doing something boring and forever regretting it.
Yeah.
You kind of take the risk.
Yeah, I feel like this is like the only thing that I kind of enjoy and I know I have a passion for, so anything else would have just been like boring to me.
You're right.
But like, I feel extremely lucky that I'm doing this as a career. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, you're right. And you are very lucky because a lot of the girls that you did go to EDA are also down in London, and they're also doing, and boys actually, and they're also still doing this training further down there. So do you feel like you've got a little community down there of Scottish people that you can all help each other out as well?
Yeah, it's really nice to see as well, like, because I feel like we're all in it together. We all wanted the same thing, and to see everyone down in London doing what we love, like, it's so comforting, I think.
Yeah. And what are you most excited for in the future with auditioning and jobs and the performing side of it? Because obviously you've done Panto, and that was like kind of like a professional job. This is you like getting out there. So what are you kind of excited about doing that's gonna be in your future, do you think?
Well, I think Panto is quite like exciting for me as well, because it sort of gave me a taste of what I want to be doing in the future. So I definitely want to do West End shows, that's for sure, and like tours and stuff if I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. But yeah, like, I'd love to do sort of commercial jobs as well. So like backing dancers, music videos, just stuff like that. But we'll just see where the future takes me.
Yeah, you're so right. And also I remember maybe a couple of years ago, and you went to Dean Lee's class. And it was like, and you were literally like dancing alongside these professional dancers and everything. And you're like this little boy. And now it's crazy. Now you're down there and you're getting taught by people in the industry. And you will literally, in a year's time, be auditioning for those same jobs as those people that are professionals.
I know, it's crazy. I was in an audition like the other week for this new movie. And like, I remember seeing this guy I kind of like looked up to on Instagram like a few years ago, and I was like, how am I in the same room with you, like auditioning with you? Like, it's crazy.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah. Because I almost feel like everyone's got someone they look up to and they admire, but you're kind of like almost getting to the same level as the people you admired, which is amazing. You're kind of getting to the stage.
It's so weird.
Yeah, but I also think it's quite good with your generation, like social media, although it can be a negative place, it's also such a positive place. And I think that you've got such a big following on social media of dancers from everywhere that have seen you do different things at competitions or whatever. And I feel like that's so amazing that you have now got all this support from all these younger kids that look up to you as well, which is super important, because I feel like a male a Scottish male who's been successful in this dance industry is such an important thing to be able to have someone to look up to. So it's crazy. You probably are having such a inspirational role in some people's life without even realizing, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's weird, like, because I kind of use Instagram to like look up to people like on videos and stuff, look at all these classes, like, so to think that people might be doing that to me, like, is weird. It's like a full circle moment.
Yeah, well, they absolutely are. And I think as well, like, even when you were with us, some of the younger boys who are now much more old, like much more grown up, they are still like, oh my goodness, Rory's doing so well. And even the dance, like even the teachers, we're all like, oh my goodness, he's going to go so far. And I think what's exciting about it is that you have got the passion. I think you're not just someone who is like a lazy dancer and you've just been like lucky. You've literally worked your socks off to get to where you are. So that's really exciting. And I think that's what's important about this career is there's lots of people who are naturally talented, but it's the people who work super hard is they're the ones that are going to make it and they're the ones that are going to succeed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a lot of people that are like very naturally talented but are just lazy and it just doesn't work out for them.
Exactly. And hard work will always win in the end, I suppose. So it's very good.
Yeah.
And also one little thing I'd like to talk about is when you auditioned for Laine, you obviously got a scholarship for that. So was that one of the, like, what did you have to do to get that scholarship? Was there certain role, like if, say for example, if I've got a student who's thinking I want to audition but I can't afford it, what process did you have to do to get that scholarship then?
Well, so I was on the Can You Dance scholarship audition day. So I got scouted at Can You Dance convention.
Yep.
And then I was like in an audition with tons of people who had been scouted. And then I just came back up to Edinburgh and waited like a few weeks and I got the call on the bus to Edinburgh Dance Academy, told me I got a scholarship and just burst out crying on the bus. So that was fun. But yeah, that was crazy for me.
Especially because it is so expensive, this career, and I feel like it's a lot of hard work and passion and money, and I feel like to make it all kind of be like you've got what you needed, that's exactly what you've worked your butt off for.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for the scholarship. It's crazy expensive. But yeah, it's definitely rewarding having a scholarship.
Well, thank you so much for chatting to us. I feel like this is exciting because it's just kind of, you're kind of halfway through your studies, you're going to go into this big bad world, but we'll all certainly be supporting you and following you. And whenever you're in Edinburgh, come and visit us as well.
Yeah, I will do.
Yeah, and good luck with these classes online because I know how annoying they can be and how unmotivating it can be to do it through a computer.
Yeah.
But good luck. Keep going. It's nearly summer holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for chatting. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch Simon Talks Dance Today with Rory. Hope you've enjoyed getting to know him a little bit better and his journey so far in this dance world. Now, if you've got anything you'd like to see through these interviews, then please let me know and I will make sure that I will include these in future chats. Now, if you could follow us on all of our social media, that would make it amazing. We've got our Instagram, our Facebook, and our YouTube. So make sure you check them all out and we will be back for more episodes shortly.